Welcome in, everyone, to Football Friday, presented by Football Addicts Anonymous. Chris will be along shortly, maybe in about 10, 15 minutes here, but I'll get it going. Mark is on the road, so he can't join us, unfortunately, but like I said, we'll have Chris here eventually for the stuff that matters at the end, the game picks and whatnot. Starting off, though, we had a college game last night. Appalachian State got the win at home, 31-30. Was disappointed by this game, not by the score, but that the fact that I had the under 58 line ended up moving to 59, but I had the under 58. Two things that killed that. First off was the eventual game-winning field goal Appalachian State kicked with 5:45 to go in the game. They actually came back from a 30-21 deficit in the fourth quarter, 10 unanswered to win. But that and the 97-yard kick return touchdown by Rasheen Ali for Marshall, that killed it as well. Can't have those kind of quick strike touchdowns when you're betting unders. It doesn't work, and it actually faked out the camera guy. Was actually really crazy. Kick return touchdown. Go look that up if you would like to see it. Both quarterbacks not the greatest nights. Pretty similar actually in terms of almost every single statistic. A little bit more, couple more completions and attempts for Chase Bryce, but otherwise pretty similar. I think the biggest thing was Nate Noel on the ground just dominated the Marshall defensive line, and Cameron Peoples, even though his average was in the sub 4, almost sub 3, really at 3.1. But he got it done. Tough yards, 3 touchdowns on the night for him. Rushing, did turn the ball over, but those runs came touchdowns, 1 yard, 2 yards, and 2 yards. Thomas Hennigan, Corey Sutton were also very prevalent. They accounted for almost all of the yards from Chase Bryce. As you can see, 127 and a touchdown for Sutton. Hennigan, that's my guy, dude. I love Thomas Hennigan for App State, 123 off 9 catches there. Then the other 100-yard receiver in the game, Xavier Gaines, the tight end for Marshall, 104 yards off 5 receptions and a touchdown. My favorite defensive performance, probably going to go with Micah Abraham for Marshall, 6 tackles, 5 solos, 2 pass deflections, and a pick. A lot of great defensive performances, though, in this game, specifically on the Marshall side. They filled the stat sheet very well. But yeah, like I said, Rasheen Ali, 83 yards on the ground, touchdown, 2 catches for 10 yards. Also, that 97-yard kick return touchdown. Marshall covered +7 over 59. Okay, Monday Night Football, Packers getting their first win of the season, 35-17. What a night. Aaron Rodgers, a bounce back, just like I thought he would have. Him and Aaron Jones, the Aaron show. Aaron Jones having 4 touchdowns as well. But yeah, I mean, Rodgers was stellar, 255 off 81.5% completion, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. Jones, like I said, 4 touchdowns, 3 of them through the air, 1 on the ground. And then Adams as well. Devontae Adams had over 100 yards, 121 on 8 receptions. Jared Goff, I mean, what can you say about his 2 performances? 0-2, but, statistically and just watching in game, I mean, the Lions aren't terrible offensively. Defensively, that's a different question. Offensively, though, we've seen Jared Goff be able to run the offense efficiently, and like they did against the Niners, came back to within one score. This one was very close in the first half. It ended up 17-14. The Lions were even leading at halftime, but 21 unanswered in the second half by the Packers. Detrimental. It was raining. There was a fourth down stopped by the Packers defense. Next offensive possession for the Lions, Goff fumbles the snap, turnover. It was just a multitude of factors that cost the Lions the win in this one. Hawkinson, again, looked great, 8 for 66 and a touchdown. Cephas is emerging as the number one wide receiver. Hawkinson, I still think, is the number one target overall in that offense. But yeah, also disappointing betting-wise on this one. I did hit twice on touchdown result drives for the Packers when they were scoring in the second half. But two biggest things, dude. I mean, I had DeAndre Swift over 4.5 receptions. That one missing by a half a catch, really distraught stat there. What's up, Chris?
How's it going?
I'm talking about my betting woes from the Packers-Lions game on Monday night. But yeah, I had the over 4.5 receptions for Swift. The last pass, Goff threw, intended for Swift, but short. And then he gets sacked on fourth down and doesn't do anything. And also, I had Austin Seibert over 5.5 points. The man scores 5 points in the first half. You're thinking, man, dude, this is money. They just got to score one touchdown or kick one ball in the second half. Any score for the Lions, besides a safety, gets Seibert one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, and they all shut out in the second half and lost by another half a point. So,
oof.
But that is how betting goes. So,
well, speaking of betting, though, did you see the one guy who had the 16-game parlay and had the Lions winning on Monday night or covering or whatever? Obviously, that didn't happen.
But
I still think he won a lot of money, though. But he didn't. He would have won I think he won like $125,000 or something like that off a $25 bet. But he would have won significantly more if the Lions had actually done their part.
Yes, luckily for him, the sports book, I believe it was DraftKings he was on, had a nice gesture, and I would too. 15 out of 16.
Oh.
That's really good. I have a hard time hitting 3 out of 4. Or 2 out of 3. But yeah. So I already said my spiel about this game. I didn't know if you wanted to chip anything in, except I didn't say about defense, but I can say that at the end.
Well, just with this game, I mean, I know it was the Lions, but the Packers looked like a completely different team than they did in week 1. Obviously, the first half wasn't as good. The Lions actually, like you said, they scored all 17 of their points in the first half. I think they were leading at half, right? It was 17-14, I think, at halftime or something.
Yep.
But overall, though, the Packers looked like the Packers that we kind of expected to see. And obviously, like I said, we didn't get to see that happen in week 1. They only scored 3 points against the Saints, who are obviously a much better team than the Lions, especially defensively. But yeah, it's kind of, I don't know what to think about the Packers yet.
I like them. I'm an A-Rod fan. So, yeah, Yeah, just quick defensively, I'm going to go with Charles Harris, former first-round pick of the Dolphins, playing outside linebacker now for the Lions. 3 tackles, 1 solo, a sack, tackle for loss, and 2 QB hits. Could also go to Devondre Campbell, who had a great night, 13 tackles, 10 of them being solos, pass selection, and a pick. Packers covered -11.5 and the over 50 hit, which I did hit on that, however.
Nice.
Dude, my button is like broken for my computer. I don't know why. Last night, Thursday Night Football. Unfortunately, I'm wearing this jersey, but it is a Panthers jersey. A hurt player now, but Panthers 3-0 for the first time since, do you know, Chris?
Yeah, the Super Bowl year, 2015.
Sir, 2015 Super Bowl 50 appearance against the Broncos.
And I think I also read that the last time before that was their other Super Bowl against the Patriots in, what was that, 2001 or something like that? 2000.
Yeah, Super Bowl 38, I believe it was.
Yeah.
The one before the Eagles. So yeah, and the other 2 times, the one before Super Bowl 38 was a 7-9 year, and the previous one before that was a loss in the NFC Championship game. So I'm not saying they're going to get that far, but I did try to warn people that the Panthers are going to be a lot better than people thought. And Sam Darnold is for real.
I mean, again, we all know my feelings on Sam Darnold. It might be somewhat biased because he was a Jet and he was just terrible as a Jet, so I don't believe in him. But I'm also not 100% convinced on the team as a whole because they haven't really faced that great a competition yet. They faced the Jets, the Texans, and the Saints. The Saints are the best of those 3 teams, and the Saints aren't really even sure what they are yet. We obviously know about all their injuries and stuff that they've been piling up, and obviously the changing guard at quarterback. So they still are trying to figure out things of their own. So, yeah, the Panthers I'm not 100% sold on yet until they actually face like a solid like playoff team that like everybody is expecting them to lose and then they end up coming back and winning the game or whatever. Until they have that kind of signature game, I don't really believe them yet.
Well, it's not their fault they have an easy schedule. They have the 3rd place schedule from last year. They do have games coming up. They go to Dallas next week. They host the Eagles, they host the Vikings, and they host the Patriots. They got to go to Arizona, host the football team. They go to Miami, to Buffalo, and then they have the 2 games against the Bucks and 1 more against the Saints. So there's some games.
When he plays the games against like his former division rivals or against the Buccaneers, like I think those are some of the games I'll be looking for because obviously, like I said, Darnold is obviously used to playing against those other teams and he didn't do well against like the AFC East. So if he can somehow turn it around and play good against those teams, I might be a little bit more of a believer. But I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it was a good night getting the win for the Panthers, but also a very detrimental night as far as injuries go. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But as
at least
you can
it didn't sound serious, though.
Yes, as you can see, Christian McCaffrey, not the leading rusher in this game. Rookie 2nd-round pick Chuba Hubbard was in his stead. No running game really for either team after McCaffrey got injured. Texans haven't had a running game all year, so I don't have a choice to not start Mark Ingram in fantasy though. That's in a 14-team redraft league. When J.K. Dobbins gets hurt, there's nothing on the waiver wires.
I didn't expect Houston's running game to be like all amazing and great or whatever, but I did expect them to be better than they are because they have 3 relatively solid running backs and like it's not like any of them are really taking the reins and having like 30 carries a game. They're all pretty much splitting the workload. So I'm kind of surprised that they didn't have enough, or that they don't perform better than they are.
Two factors. One, offensive line isn't that good. And two, especially the last two games, they've been down. So they've had to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Which will likely be the case for the majority of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with Tyrod out at least the next 3 weeks with his hamstring injury on IR. But
I was gonna say, what did you think of Davis Mills' debut?
You know, I was sort of high on Mills in the pre-draft. And I don't think he did terrible. I mean, technically, he had a better completion percentage than Darnold by 0.3%. But I think they limited him, which was the right thing to do in terms of how much playbook they were going to give him. And it was a short week, so that was also tough being a rookie on a short week, making your first start. I don't think he played terrible though. Like I said, the offensive line isn't that great. The Panthers pass rush right now is the best pass rush in the NFL. They have the most sacks in the league. I think it's 14 through 3 weeks. So with that, I think you saw what he could do really on that 2-minute drill that they scored the touchdown on. I think that was by far his best. You could see he wasn't thinking. It was quick, and he was getting the ball out of his hands. So, he can do it. And Brandon Cooks is the guy. So that's the only guy he needs to throw to.
Yeah, and I don't know if there was any correlation or whatnot, but it seemed like once McCaffrey got hurt and got knocked out of the game, the Texans defense was able to get to Darnold a lot more. I don't know if it had anything to do with it, but they did strip him, I think, 2 or 3 times towards the end of the game. So
yeah, I'll do another 2-factor test. First off, with rookie and Chuba Hubbard, his pass protection skills are not that great yet. And second, also in passing, him running routes out of the backfield, he is not as elusive as Christian McCaffrey in route running.
Yeah.
Where you'd have that easy check down like you normally would when McCaffrey's in the game. But yeah, DJ Moore had a fantastic night. 8 receptions, 126 yards. Not that great in the second half. He was over 100 yards in the first half. Anthony Miller caught his first catch and his first touchdown as a Houston Texan. Regretted not playing him. He didn't do anything his first game. He didn't have a target his first game. So
yeah, I was happy to see that though, because I am kind of rooting for him because he kind of got the short end of the stick there in Chicago. Not saying that Houston's any better than Chicago, but I think he has a much better opportunity here than he would have in Chicago. So I'm kind of happy to see he actually did something this week.
Yeah, and defensively, I'm going to go with Hassan Reddick. He and the other pass rushers for Carolina have just dominated through 3 games so far. 2 tackles a solo, 1.5 sacks, tackle for loss, and 3 QB hits. I know you want to shout out your guy, Frankie Louvu, too.
Yeah, I miss him. I wish he was still a Jet.
Well, he's on the best pass rush in the league, so. Panthers covered -8 and the under 43 hit. All right, NFL news, nothing NCAA-wise this week. There was one thing, but I didn't understand it fully, so we're not going to talk about it. NFL, though, we got the list of 122 nominees for the 2022 Hall of Fame class. I didn't look at the entire list, but I did write down the first ballot players for 2022. There are 10 of them. They are 4 wide receivers: Anquan Bolden, Devin Hester, Andre Johnson and Steve Smith Sr., offensive lineman Jake Long and Nick Mangold, linebacker DeMarcus Ware, defensive lineman Robert Mathis and Vince Wilfork, and defensive back Antonio Cromartie.
Yeah, this class is obviously not nearly as strong as last year's, but I still think there's a couple solid first ballot Hall of Famers right there. I think Devin Hester is a no-brainer. And I think a couple of the defensive linemen, too, I think have a solid chance. Like Robert Mathis, I think, has a shot, and DeMarcus Ware has a shot. And, I mean, I would love to see Cromartie make it. I don't know if he will, though, first ballot. I think he will eventually get in. I don't know if it's going to be first ballot, though. And even Anquan Bolden, I think he's kind of the same category as Cromartie. I think they're both Hall of Fame worthy players, but I don't think that either one of them is going to get in this year.
I don't hold Antonio Cromartie that highly. But I do agree with Devin Hester, the all-time leading kick return or return touchdowns, punt and kick return touchdown leader. The only thing with him is that's all he did. And we saw the reluctance for years, the Hall of Fame, to put Steve Tasker in. Granted, Steve Tasker wasn't a returner full-time. He was just like a Matthew Slater is today, where he is the best special teams player in the league. But he did a lot.
I mean, I think it's a little like I think there's a difference there, like you said. Like a guy like Slater, he is a versatile special teams player. So I don't think they're held as highly regarded as somebody like Devin Hester, who was probably the best returner of all time.
Yeah. And it's not like he didn't play offense. He did for a bunch of teams. The Bears tried to get him involved. I think trying to think where else, because he played in Chicago, Atlanta, and there's one other team, right?
I think so. I can't think of who it is, but
I can't either.
Wasn't Baltimore, was it?
Late. I think 1 year after Atlanta, I think he did, but I don't think he did much offensively.
No.
But yeah, his biggest thing, opening kick return touchdown in Super Bowl 41 against the Colts. But yeah, I do like Hester. Anquan Bolden is up there on the receiving lists. So he should get a chance. And like you said as well, DeMarcus Ware, just like Bolden, he is high up on the all-time sacks list as well. I think Steve Smith Sr. has a shot too. People kind of sleep on Steve Smith Sr., but when you look at his career with the Panthers and Ravens, he was one of the best receivers in that era.
Yeah.
So, all right. Next, the NFL today, reinstating wide receiver Josh Gordon for the umpteenth time. And he's eligible to play as early as next week, week 4. So,
well, I'm curious to see if anybody actually takes a flyer on him, because now the NFL got rid of their didn't they get rid of their marijuana policy or whatever?
It is. I don't think they necessarily got rid of it. They are putting money into medicinal research for it.
So I think teams might be more willing to take a chance on him because he won't get in as much trouble, if any, now, because that was obviously his biggest downfall was marijuana. He couldn't stay off of it. So I think he'd be solid for a playoff team. Like, I think he'd be kind of like the final piece, kind of like what Antonio Brown was last year for the Buccaneers. I think he could be that type of player for another team this year.
Yeah, I knew I knew it was going to be a mad scramble for him in fantasy because that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was surprised no one picked him up in our dynasty league yet. I was thinking about it, but I like my receivers already, so
I might take a chance on it if he's still out there because I have really bad receivers. So. I just don't know what team would fit him though, because I'm thinking about it and like all the high profile teams I feel like have a solid wide receiver core that don't really need another one.
Well, the Browns. Jarvis Landry is currently on IR.
That'd be kind of cool though to see him go back to Cleveland.
And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think they do it, but why not the Eagles?
Yeah.
They can use receivers. All right. Bears head coach Matt Nagy announcing that Justin Fields will start this week, but Andy Dalton is still the starter when he returns to be healthy. So
now, I mean, I don't have a problem with him saying that because I feel like that's something he has to say. But I don't know how long Dalton's supposed to be out, but if it's a few weeks, like if Justin Fields gets to start like 3 or 4 games and they're undefeated in those games and he plays well in those games, I have a hard time believing that they're actually going to switch back to Dalton.
Right. That's why you can never trust anything a head coach says.
Exactly.
So, yeah. The Lions, they are exploring a trade of linebacker Jamie Collins, currently owed $3.378 million the rest of the year. Rookie linebacker Derek Barnes out of Purdue has impressed them so far. The only thing with Jamie Collins is, like, is he even good anymore? I think, well, the Lions aren't using him right. I understand that. They're using him as an off-ball linebacker, where I think he's best suited in a 3-4, like he was in New England, and that's where people say he should go.
I was just thinking that.
I don't think they want him. They like their young guys.
Yeah. I mean, he could be used as a depth piece though. But yeah, is he only signed through this year?
I believe so. Maybe.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he would definitely probably be a rental player for whoever decides to trade for him, if anybody does. But
yeah, if the Steelers were the team that actually traded draft picks, I would think they would be interested, considering TJ Watt's nursing his groin injury. Alex Highsmith has a groin injury as well. So maybe if the price is right, they might be interested, but otherwise, I don't know many other spots that would take a shot on.
maybe Miami, since that I believe Flores did coach him in New England. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, they need pass rush.
Yeah.
They got Cap. All right. COVID list, guys. The Bucs, they placed wide receiver Antonio Brown on the list. It's going to be tough for him to play, even though he is vaccinated. Just needs to get 2 negative tests within 24 hours. And he'll be able to play technically, but it'll be tough missing practice all week.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Ravens, many key defensive players placed on the list today. Nose tackle Brandon Williams, defensive lineman Justin Madubuike, linebackers Justin Houston and Jalen Ferguson, all on the COVID list and all out this weekend.
Oof.
Luckily for them, they're playing with the Lions.
I mean, who knows though? That could actually matter. Obviously, they looked good last week against the Chiefs in a game that I'm sure not many people picked. But yeah, I don't know. The Lions also did impress, at least in the first half of last week's game. So I don't know. I don't think that game is as much of a lock as people might think.
Let's go to IR here. Browns, like I said, placed wide receiver Jarvis Landry on the IR. I already said quarterback Tyrod Taylor, he's out. He was placed on IR along with rookie third-round pick wide receiver Nico Collins. Taylor is out 3 to 4 weeks with a hamstring injury. The Broncos, they placed linebacker Bradley Chubb on IR. He had arthroscopic ankle surgery to remove a bone spur. So he is out 6 to 8 weeks.
Oof.
Von Miller taking up the slack there. The Lions, coming out of Monday Night Football, they placed corner Ifeatu Melifonwu on the IR. We'll see what the corresponding move is later for that. Just another corner down for Detroit. Already out Jeff Okudah for the year. The Jags placed tight end James O'Shaughnessy on IR. They're starting tight end. The Giants, another offensive lineman down for them. Shane Lemieux underwent surgery to repair his patellar tendon. He is done for the year. So Nick Gates and Shane Lemieux both out for the year now for the Giants offensive line. Eagles offensive line guard Brandon Brooks. He has a pec strain. He's going to be out around 8 weeks. This coming from right tackle Lane Johnson.
Yeah, I saw that. I was kind of like, that was so random to me. Like, they got the report from another player. Why isn't the team saying that?
Yeah, I don't know. All right, Steelers injuries here. Quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, he has a pec injury as well. I would expect Ben to play. He doesn't miss many games that he has injuries that he can play through. I would be interested though to know which pec it is, because if it's his right one, that's a totally different story. But if it's left one, I think he can definitely play through that.
Yeah.
Also with the Steelers, linebacker Alex Highsmith is out this week. He has a groin injury. Wide receiver Deontay Johnson also ruled out with his knee injury suffered at the end of the game last week. Continuing in Pittsburgh, Steelers linebacker TJ Watt with his groin injury, he is officially questionable and has a chance to play, they said. They're leaving the door open is the quoted phrase.
But what, like, do they actually expect him to, though, or are they just saying that to
sounds like a GTD for me. Game time decision, like a lot of players are this weekend.
Who are they playing this weekend again?
They host the Bengals.
Okay, so I mean they did lose to them last year, but
that was in
that was but that I think to me is also just whether they probably already know whether or not he's on track to play. I'm leaning towards probably not right now, but they're probably just saying that to kind of like make the Bengals game plan for him and stuff. Get into the Bengals' heads.
Well, it's fine because they are getting back linebacker Devin Bush and corner Joe Hayden this week. Both appear good to go. So. Falcons wide receiver Russell Gage, he is week to week with an ankle injury. Not that he's done anything this season so far. I know fantasy owners know what I mean specifically.
Yeah, yeah. I have him on our keepers league, and I had him starting in week 1, and he didn't do anything for me, so I benched him, and that seems to be the right decision.
He's a drop candidate now with a week to week ankle. Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, he is out this week. They found out he does have fractured ribs. So no timetable I didn't hear a timetable on him yet. So it'll be Jacoby Brissett and with Reed Sinnett backing him up. So Colts quarterback Carson Wentz, he is dealing with a high ankle sprain in his right ankle, a low ankle sprain in his left ankle, but he is a game time decision this week, not ruled out. Game time decision for Carson Wentz. He has a chance.
All I can say is only Carson Wentz would sprain both ankles.
I didn't understand how that was possible. And for you, for you to be able to, I know it's not a complete tear because I've had a high ankle sprain, but for you to be able to walk with spraining both ankles, I wouldn't have been able to. Granted, the left one's a low ankle sprain, so maybe he can put most of his weight on that foot. But if he can't go, interesting thing that happened this week in Colts practice squad quarterback Brett Hundley took the majority of the starting reps on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. So
it's unclear if it's going to be Hundley or Jacob Eason if Wentz can't go.
And is Ellinger still with the team?
I'm not sure if he's on their practice squad or not.
Because I was kind of surprised. I mean, I obviously didn't expect him to be in the conversation for starting, but if they didn't re-sign with the practice squad, I'd be kind of surprised. But yeah, that when I saw that too, that kind of made me shake my head because I don't think Hundley's a good quarterback. And if they're thinking about starting him over Eason, I think that says a lot about their trust in Eason as well.
Oh, yeah. Ellinger's on IR. That's.
Oh.
Yeah, he got hurt in the preseason. So he's not an option. All right. Raiders running back Josh Jacobs. He's dealing with his ankle injury. He is doubtful. Looks like it's going to be Peyton Barber starting again with Kenyon Drake going as well. Your Saints, Chris, getting good news. Corner Marshawn Lattimore, he dealing with his hand injury. He is going to play this week.
Yeah, he better start earning that big money contract he just got.
Well, he hurt his hand signing. That's how he hurt his hand. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, he is questionable officially, but he is expected to play with the non-COVID illness that he had.
Well, that was just karma that I heard that he apparently got hurt on that touchdown flip.
Yeah.
That's just kind of karma right there for showing off.
I didn't know what the actual injury was. I just knew he was dealing with a non-COVID illness this week. The Chargers defensive end Joey Bosa officially questionable with his ankle and foot injury. Vikings running back Dalvin Cook questionable as well. He didn't practice.
Shocker there.
He didn't practice all week, so his was an ankle.
That's a shocker.
I believe. Was it an ankle, Chris? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, but
okay.
Anytime I see Dalvin Cook's name in an injury report, I'm not surprised. He's just as bad as Wentz.
Cardinals,
maybe not just as bad as Wentz, but
Cardinals wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. He is a game time decision dealing with a rib injury. I didn't hear the full extent of what the rib injury is, whether it's bruised rib cartilage or whatnot. But like Ian Rappaport said, D-Hop usually finds a way to play. So,
I mean, if he doesn't, though, obviously DeAndre Hopkins is among the best receivers in the league. He's a top 3 receiver in the league. But I actually, so far to this point, I actually believe in the Cardinals' offense, with or without Hopkins. I think that AJ Green and Max Williams and even Christian Kirk, I think they can all hold down the fort for a game if Hopkins can't go.
Rondale Moore.
Oh, yeah, Rondale Moore, too. I forgot about him.
All right. Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins, he is doubtful this week. Rams running back Daryl Henderson Jr. is a game time decision. So Funk time? Not really. It'd be Sonny Michel. But Jake Funk would be the primary backup, if I believe, anyways. I feel like I always forget one guy in the Rams backfield, but I think Xavier Jones is still hurt. So.
Yeah.
Packers offensive lineman Elton Jenkins, he is doubtful. And the Browns wide receiver, they lost Jarvis Landry to IR for a couple weeks, but OBJ is making his 2021 season debut this week, coming off his torn ACL, right, from last year?
Yeah.
So OBJ will play. And the Eagles left tackle Jordan Mailata, he injured his knee during practice. He is officially questionable for the game against the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. All right. Panthers injuries from last night. Running back Christian McCaffrey, he strained his hamstring. He will miss a few weeks. So it'll be Chuba Hubbard, the rookie there. Corner, rookie number 8 overall pick, J.C. Horn. He broke 3 bones in his foot. Mulling what to do at this point, whether that's rehab or surgery. And if it's surgery, probably going to miss the rest of the season. Also in the secondary corner, I believe he's their nickel corner, Justin Burris. He injured his groin last night as well. All right, some signings here. The Jags, they signed former Raiders corner Nevin Lawson to a 1-year deal. Really quick transaction there, released by the Raiders 1 week, picked up by the Jags next week. The Broncos, they signed former Rams linebacker Micah Kaiser to a 1-year, $600,000 deal, but fully guaranteed deal off of the Rams practice squad. And then the Patriots, they signed kicker Nick Folk, elevated him from the practice squad to the 53. And the Falcons, they signed punter Dustin Colquitt back in the league.
I wonder, we were talking about last week with Thomas Morstead coming back with the Jets here. Colquitt, I feel like he's been around. I don't know if it's been just as long, but it feels like it, because I feel like he's been in the league forever. And so it'll be interesting to see how he's been holding up, because if I'm not mistaken, I feel like he hasn't played in a couple of years. I don't think he played last year.
No. The last time I remember him, he was trying to latch on with the Steelers and didn't. So I think that was in 2019 that he was in a preseason competition with Jordan Berry and lost. So, all right, some practice squad elevations here. The Lions, they elevated corner Daryl Worley. Texans elevated quarterback Jeff Driscoll. That was last night, so he was the backup to Davis Mills. Steelers, they signed linebacker Taco Charlton to the practice squad, former first-round pick of the Dallas Cowboys. Just some depth for the practice squad. Might even play. I don't know if he will play this week or not, depending on how they feel where his conditioning is at. And I think that also depends on whether TJ Watt's playing or not.
Yeah.
Whether they will elevate him pregame. And then the Seahawks, they signed former Packers tight end Jay Sternberger to the practice squad as well. Finally, some workouts here. The Jags, we already talked about James O'Shaughnessy going on IR. So in turn, they worked out tight end Trey Burton, former Eagles, Bears, Colts tight end Trey Burton. Philly special Trey Burton. And one of his former teams, the Colts. Interesting workouts today. They worked out former Titans first-round pick Isaiah Wilson. So, traded from Houston to the Dolphins, subsequently released very quickly, dealing with off the field stuff. We'll see if he can get back in the AFC South or not.
That whole thing with him was interesting. So I wonder, I mean, the Colts must think that he is over whatever problems he had if they brought him in for a workout. So we'll have to see.
And with the Christian McCaffrey injury, the Panthers worked out running backs today. Ito Smith, Duke Johnson, and Dontrell Hilliard.
I mean, I know the Panthers don't really have the ground and pound type of play style, but Adrian Peterson is still out there. I know you, and I still think he's obviously, I don't think a feature back anymore, but I think he'd be a perfect complement and a perfect mentor for a guy like Hubbard.
Well, we know Frank Gore's looking for jobs.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Frank Gore too.
He's not looking for an NFL job though. Didn't you hear about that?
What do you mean?
He is training to pursue a boxing match. He is now into boxing at age 59.
Good for him.
I don't even know how old Frank Gore is anymore. But yeah, he is not currently looking for an NFL job. He is focused on his boxing career.
That's right. When he retires from that in 10 years, he'll come back
to play with his son. All right. And actually, I would like Adrian Peterson to get signed by someone. I have him in I just drafted him when I drafted this best ball lineup on, I think it's FanDuel. And I drafted a best ball lineup, and I drafted him like my last pick. I was like, well, I think he's going to get signed. At that time, Cam Akers had got hurt, and I was like, dude, he's going to sign with the Rams, no doubt. And then, he's just sitting there. All right, let's get to college pick standings here. Look at that, man. Dude, we railed it last week. No one had double-digit losses, and I annihilated it. 4 losses, 23-4, 21-6 for Mark, 20-7 for Chris. And now you're in a 3-game hole, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's only 3 games, and it's only week, 4 of the college season?
Yeah.
So, I still got plenty of time to catch up.
I will say, though, our guest picker last week, Nate, fantastic as well. I didn't have time to put his record on here, but he also only had 4 losses. He went 16-4 in the 20 games that he picked for college, only losing Indiana, Auburn, Virginia, and Air Force. So, and the games that we differed on last week, Michigan State, Miami, where you lone wolfed. Mississippi State, Memphis, where you lone wolf. North Carolina, Virginia, where Chris lone wolfed. Or no, that one Mark lone wolfed. Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was UNC on that one.
And then Utah State, Air Force, where the GOAT lone wolf. I told you, dude. Spreads don't mean anything, which you will see. That mantra is put to work in my picks this weekend. You will see.
Yeah, I had a tough time picking these college games because it was the spreads and everything seemed very weird this week.
There's a lot of games every week, and I texted you and I said, "You think 35 is too much?" And you're like, "Yeah." But I like having non-ranked matchups that are really good teams because it's so hard to pick, which makes our pick standings better. So we do have a couple of those this week. Not as many as I wanted to. Chris told me I couldn't have that many. So.
I just didn't want to be sitting here till 9:00.
Tonight, we have 3 games on our slate. Wake Forest undefeated at Virginia in Charlottesville. The Cavaliers getting 3.5 here over the Demon Deacons. We're all on Virginia.
Yeah. I thought about taking Wake Forest here because they are undefeated and all that. And it is only a 3.5 point spread. But I don't know. I didn't really take the time to look at like who Wake Forest play. Like, are they 3-0 with a tough schedule? Do they have an easy schedule? I don't know. But I do know Virginia's played some pretty good teams, and they've played very well in those 3 games that they've played. And yeah, they are the favorites, so I had to go with them.
The answer to your question is no. Wake Forest hasn't played anyone. They played Old Dominion, Norfolk State, and Florida State.
Well, then there you go. Virginia's winning this.
Yeah, Virginia coming off their first loss of the season, a 20-point loss to North Carolina. The over-under is massive, 70 for this game. And the only reason is that Wake Forest is scoring 39 points per game. Virginia scoring 41. So
yeah, but I mean, you even just said it there. Wake Forest hasn't played anybody good yet. So I don't know if they're going to score 39 points in this game.
Yeah. I mean, Sam Hartman's not terrible. I do really like Brennan Armstrong for Virginia. But the Demon Deacons also have 2 guys I'm familiar with, A.T. Perry at wide receiver and Christian Beal-Smith at running back. So wouldn't be surprised if it went over, but I'm going to take the under. 7 p.m. ESPN 2. Second game, undefeated Liberty. The Flames head into the Carrier Dome against Syracuse. The Flames getting 6.5. We're all on the Malik Willis train.
Yeah, I didn't see any reason why not to pick Liberty. I think I picked against them in one of these games already, and they already proved me wrong. So I couldn't go against them in this one. Yeah. I mean, they are the favorite anyway, so it's not like I'm trying to pick the underdog here.
Only thing I will caution. We've said it before. Syracuse at the Dome is a tough out.
Yeah.
But they already lost to Rutgers at the Dome. So let's go Liberty. Rutgers has a great defense, though. I will say that, which I'll talk about during their game.
I was going to say, we're going to get to that game, and I'm surprised. That was one of the games I was like most shocked about. I don't know if it was the spread or the over-under, but one of those I was like, wow, that doesn't sound right.
Over-under for this one is 54. I would go under. I'm hesitant because I don't think Syracuse's offense is all that great with Tommy DeVito at quarterback.
Yeah. You know, I think it'll be somewhere in the 40s. I think under.
8 p.m. ACC Network. Dude, literally my down button is like broken. I don't know what happened. All right, winless UNLV. The Rebels head to number 22 Fresno State, who are not 3-0. They're 3-1. That's my bet.
That one loss doesn't make a difference, though. This is still going to be a blowout game in Fresno State's favor.
This is true. I am interested to know if Jake Haener will be playing or not. Because I didn't hear exactly what his injuries were from last week. I don't know if he was just banged up really badly from the pass rush or if he was actually injured. Obviously, this would be a great game to rest him because they do have some games coming up. You know, they got to go to Hawaii next week. So I think this would be a great, before they start their conference slate, I think it'd be a pretty good game to rest Haener and get him prepped for Hawaii in 2 weeks. So. Fresno State minus 30, and the over-under is 59. Can UNLV help?
That, I mean, I think Fresno State can score 30, but that would then mean that UNLV would have to score, what would that be, like 20?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it goes to 50 or whatever it was.
I think under. I think Fresno will score somewhere around. They're going to score 45 to 50 points on their own. It just depends on.
And
It's
what was the
going to depend on if UNLV kicks a field goal or touchdown.
I was gonna say, what's the number again?
54. 59, 59, 59.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's getting to 59. I could see it getting into the 50s, but I highly doubt they actually get to 59.
10 p.m. CBS Sportsnet. Let's go to tomorrow. Number 2, Georgia, heading to Nashville to play Vanderbilt at Nissan Stadium, I believe. It usually is at Nissan Stadium. But anyways, was kind of shocked. I mean, this is the second week in a row that they're a 30-plus point favorite against the SEC team. It is Vanderbilt. I understand. They're only scoring 16.7 points per game. So I think the biggest question is, will the Dogs cover?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. 35 is a lot. Did they cover the one from last week?
No, because South Carolina scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, I think this could be a similar situation to that. I mean, Georgia, they are obviously one of the best teams in the country. I think all of us had them going to the championship, and I expect them to have an undefeated season. But I think that they will give up some garbage time points because they'll already be up by like 45 points, and they just won't care anymore. So yeah, I don't think they cover the 35, but
yeah, I don't know. Vanderbilt is really, really, really bad. They got blown out, mind you, by East Tennessee State in week 1, 23-3. I think they were lucky to beat Colorado State 24-21 week 2. Then they get blown out 41-23 against Stanford last weekend. So I wouldn't be surprised if they cover. Explosive offense from JT Daniels and co. Go damn Dogs. Over under is 54. I'm going over. Georgia's going to score.
Mm-hmm.
12 p.m. SEC Network. Villanova undefeated at number 6 Penn State. In-state matchup here. Nittany Lions getting 30.5. Now, I will say this about this game. It's not – I wouldn't be surprised if Penn State covers, but it's not going to be as bad early as people think it will be. I think Villanova will be able to hold and run with Penn State for about a quarter and a half, or maybe even the whole first half.
Yeah. I'm obviously not as big of a believer in Penn State. I'm still going back to their pretty bad season from last year. Obviously, they don't have the exact same team from last year and all that, and it's a different schedule, whatnot, but I'm not a total believer in them yet. However, in this game, I don't see a problem. The 30.5 is a huge thing, and I don't feel as comfortable with that with Penn State as I do the 35 for Georgia. But yeah, I agree though. I think that Penn State in the end will at the very least get close to that number. I don't know if they'll actually cover, but I think they'll win by more than 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. 54.5 is the over-under. I'm going over once again. And then 12 p.m. Big Ten Network. I won't be watching any of the cable networks this weekend. Noon anyways. Come on. I'm telling you, dude, my button's broken. The down one. There we go. Big matchup. Biggest one of the weekend, actually. Number 12, Notre Dame at number 18, Wisconsin. This is played in Soldier Field. Neutral site game. The Badgers getting 6.5. I am lone wolfing Wisconsin, not because I'm obligated to, because I live here. But I mean, that does play a factor. But I don't think Notre Dame can keep doing it. They can't just keep winning close games like that. That's not sustainable. And Wisconsin has the third best defense in the Big Ten. I think Wisconsin overall has a top 10 defense in the nation. So I think they're going to frustrate Jack Cohn. The offense will do just enough. They're going to run the ball a lot, which I think Notre Dame has become susceptible to. And I don't think Notre Dame's defense is that good besides Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised that I'm not the lone wolf in this one. I thought that Mark was going to be going with Wisconsin with you, but I think that played a factor in why I picked Notre Dame, because I'm trying to make up ground here, obviously. So I did pick them expecting to be the lone wolf here. But, I mean, you said all the reasons why they can't win, or why they shouldn't win or whatever. But they are undefeated. They are the higher ranked team. And I mean, the spread's not terrible. It's less than a touchdown. And when it's like this, especially in college, because NFL is different, but when the spread's under a touchdown like this, I don't really take that into consideration as much as I would a bigger spread. So I think that Notre Dame can easily cover that and win by a touchdown rather than lose by a touchdown. And yeah, I agree with the not being able to sustain winning close games every week. But for this week, I think that they can continue that trend and win a close one at Soldier Field.
Fact of the matter is, the three teams they've played so far are not that great. Florida State, Toledo, Purdue, all relatively close. Dumbest thing about this game, though, is it an 11 a.m. Central kickoff. It's so stupid. I understand why freaking Fox has to have their big noon kickoff for the Big Ten. And Notre Dame or Wisconsin is the game that they picked to have big noon kickoff this week. College game day will be there as well. So highly doubt many people will be tuning into Fox's big noon kickoff as opposed to college game day. So I'm not going, unfortunately. Tickets are too expensive. They're like $200. Over under is 45. And I'm gonna go under because of Wisconsin's defense. That's it.
Yeah, I think this will be a low scoring game.
12 p.m. on Fox. All right, SEC matchup, LSU, 2.5-point favorites at Mississippi State. Now, Mark said this was a revenge game. I guess Mississippi State beat them last year. I don't remember, but
I wouldn't be surprised because LSU was really bad last year.
Yeah, I'm lone wolfing them though. I'm lone wolfing Mississippi State. I'm with the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Mississippi State let me down last week. I lone wolfed them last week and they let me down. And I couldn't go against LSU. Obviously, they're still kind of quote unquote rebuilding from their championship. And I was really surprised that this was only a 2.5-point spread here. But I just think LSU's pedigree overall, I think, will win them this game. I don't know. Mississippi State to me shouldn't only be a 2.5 point underdog.
Well, the reason I'm doing it is Will Rodgers, quarterback for Mississippi State, has been electric. Granted, the point totals haven't necessarily been there. 35, 24, and 29. So pretty low in terms of upper echelon offenses in college. LSU, on the other hand, they've scored a lot, 27, 34, and 49, but they haven't played anyone besides their week 0 loss to UCLA, or week 1 loss to UCLA. But yeah, I don't know. I think Mississippi State has played NC State. They played Memphis, who they lost to last week. I like Will Rodgers, 8-1 touchdown ratio. He's already over 1,000 yards on the season in 3 games. So we'll have to see if the LSU defense can stop him. And one other thing, it's at Mississippi State, so they'll have the cowbells out and ringing. Over under is 56. I'm going over. A lot of points going to be scored in this one.
Uh-huh.
It's actually crazy. Max Johnson, quarterback for LSU, has a 11-2 touchdown interception ratio, just as good as Will Rodgers.
But I mean, I know you have Mississippi State winning this game, but do you think it'll be the field goal game like this says it's going to be, or do you think that they would win by at least a touchdown or more?
No, I think it'll be close. This is a matchup of 2 mid-tier SEC teams.
Yeah.
12 p.m. ESPN. I think my down button has been broken. Now I got to click every time. All right, SEC, ACC matchup here. Missouri at Boston College. Boston College undefeated. They haven't played anyone, Chris.
I don't care. I just went with Boston College. I really don't like picking a Boston team because I hate all Boston sports. I'm a New York fan through and through. But Boston College, undefeated at home. I know they didn't play anybody. It's only a 1.5 point spread, though. And, I mean, it's a perfect opportunity for me to make up some ground here. So, let's go Boston College.
Boston College is 3 wins. They've blown all 3 teams out. But Colgate, UMass, and Temple.
Temple's not terrible.
Oh, they're terrible. They are bad right now. Missouri, on the other hand, Central Michigan. They lost to Kentucky, and then they blew out Southeast Missouri State, SEMO. Just a little bit better. At least they've played SEC team. And they lost. But over under in this one is 58. Not sure. Boston College, Phil Dracovic has not been the quarterback, in case you didn't know. He has been injured. And I like Connor Bazelak for Missouri, as well as Tyler Beatty at running back. So
that's a tough one. But, I mean, you said Boston College scores a lot of points.
They do.
So
against no one.
I know, but still, I think that they can still put up a good amount of points on the board.
Yeah,
and I think
good enough.
I don't know. It's going to be a close one. That one's tough to call, but I'll say that they'll be just short.
Yeah, Missouri averaging 40, Boston College 41.
That's 81, but still, I don't think that they get that.
Missouri's averaging 513 yards per game. Boston College is 100 yards shorter. All right. This one is 12 p.m. ESPN2. All right. Undefeated matchup, SMU at TCU. This is the 100th meeting between these two all time. TCU leads in that category. I'm lone wolf in SMU.
I thought long and hard about this one too. I almost went with SMU, but I wasn't going to go crazy on every one of my picks because I need to make up some ground, but I also need to at least stay where I am. So I was trying to pick and choose where I was going to take my chances. In this game, I wasn't going to take my chance. SMU, yes, they're a great team and all that, but it's at TCU, and TCU's 9.5 point favorite. So I was like, I can't go against them in this one.
Yeah, TCU leads the all-time series 51, 41, and 7. But SMU has the nation leader in touchdown passes. Tanner Mordecai has 16 through 3 games. And that's why. Really, it's the players on offense for SMU that I love. Their triangle of players, their big three, quarterback Tanner Mordecai, running back Ulysses Bentley IV, and then wide receiver Rashee Rice. Those are the guys. They also have Oklahoma transfer tight end Grant Calcaterra as well. And I just it's going to be a quarterback showcase, though. Max Duggan for TCU as well is really good. He lost to SMU the only time he's played them in 2019. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Over under is 66. Yeah, it'll be close. Both teams will score in the 30s. Definitely would take SMU plus 9.5. But so if they score in the 30s, it'd be tough not to get over 66.
Yeah. 38-31, that's 69.
Yeah.
And that would cover the spread too.
12 p.m. FS1. Battle Texas Tech undefeated Red Raiders at Texas. The Longhorns getting 9 points here. Yeah, who has Texas Tech played, do you ask? Houston, Stephen F. Austin, and FIU. They're giving up about 21 points per game in those 3
That's
games.
pretty bad for playing those 3 games. But no. I enjoy when all 3 logos on the bottom are the same, because that means we either all gain a point or we all fall another point down. The other games stress me out when I'm lone wolfing them, because I haven't been doing too well in my lone wolf games so far this season. But yeah, there's no reason Texas shouldn't win this game. You already mentioned Texas Tech's 3-0 start, quote unquote, because they haven't played anybody. And in those games, they still have given up a lot of points. So I don't see any reason why Texas can't put up a lot of points and bury them pretty much.
Yeah, Texas coming off a shutout of Russ, after their blowout loss to Arkansas, and then their blowout win over Louisiana. So at least they're battle tested, playing an SEC and one of the best group of 5 teams in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
Over under for this one is 63. I think it goes over. We know what Texas Tech brings in their spread offense, and we think Texas is going to win. So we'll keep score. 12 p.m. ABC. UMass at number 17 Coastal Carolina, coming off an unspectacular showing in Buffalo last weekend for the Chanticleers. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned UMass before when we were talking about, I think, Boston College. But we all know what Coastal is. Obviously, they still beat Buffalo, but they didn't have that great of a game against them. But yeah, this game, 36 is a huge spread, but I think Coastal could do it. I think it'll be tough, but I think they can do it.
I don't know if Coastal's covered any game this year yet. Or no, I think they covered the Kansas game. Or no, they pushed. They pushed the Kansas game. They didn't cover against Citadel, and they didn't cover against Buffalo. So they are 0-2-1 against the spread this year.
Yeah, but I mean, I knew Buffalo was going to be a tough game because Buffalo, even with losing all their players, or not all their players, but some of their big players from last year, I knew it was still going to be a tough game. But yeah, UMass going to Coastal. Yeah, Coastal. I think that this is probably Coastal's easiest game of the season, especially up to this point at least. So I don't see any reason why they shouldn't.
Yeah, they have a couple of nice games to get themselves right in a row. UMass, Monroe. Then they got to go to Arkansas State on a Thursday night. So get right, Coastal Carolina. Over-under is 66. No chance. No.
UMass can't score it. Maybe anything.
1 p.m. ESPN Plus. Colorado State, the Rams at number 5, Iowa Hawkeyes, undefeated Iowa, one of the best defenses in the country. 23.5 for the Hawkeyes here. And I think they cover. Yeah. Colorado State's not that good. They've only scored about 23-ish, 22, 23 points per game. Iowa scoring 30, but Colorado State won't score 20. They'll barely score 1. They'll barely score 7 if they do it all against that defense. So
yeah, I mean, if they do, it'll probably be a garbage time touchdown, or they'll just somehow get lucky and score 1 during the game. But yeah, Iowa State 4 scores. I think they'll be ahead at least 4 scores. So it's an easy one for them.
Over-under is 44.
So I don't know if I like that, though.
Iowa score 45 points. I think they do.
I'm going to say it's going to go over, but it's going to be because of Colorado State getting that final touchdown at the end of the game, that garbage time touchdown, pushing it over.
All right, 3:30 FS1. This is, besides Notre Dame, Wisconsin, this one is a great game. This is also a neutral site game. Number 7, Texas A&M 3-0 at number 16, Arkansas, also 3-0. And you know where this one is, Chris?
Where?
This one's at Jerry World, which means Arkansas is going to win because Jerry is a Razorback alum. And the Hogs are going to come in to Jerry's house and win. His alma mater will win. Because of KJ Jefferson. That's why.
I don't know. This one, I mean, I picked Texas A&M for many reasons. I didn't know the whole game being in Dallas thing, but I think that actually helps Texas A&M even more because technically it turns them into the home team in a way, because it is now in Texas instead of at Arkansas. And yes, Jerry was a Arkansas alum and all that, but now since it's closer to A&M, I think the fans will travel better and travel more. And I think it'll sound definitely more like a home game for A&M than it will for Arkansas. But yeah, I think that A&M is one of the more underrated teams. I know they're ranked 7, but I think they're one of the more underrated teams in college football. I think people overlook them because they are usually, and I have them finishing as the first team out of the playoffs. Like they've been that the last couple of years, so people seem to overlook them a little bit. And but I think that they continue their hot start, go 4-0 here. Yeah, I don't see why they shouldn't win this one.
I mean, I could tell you why. Both teams have only played one quality opponent. Arkansas rolling Texas. Texas A&M's only relevant game at Colorado. They didn't win that game until about a minute to go in the game. They were down 7-3, and they won it 10-7. That's one of the other reasons why I'm picking the Hogs.
But to me, that just shows that they just don't give up. They play till the end of the game.
Also, Texas A&M's going for its 10th straight win over Arkansas. I think that gives Arkansas motivation to beat them. And it actually moved up a point. It's 5.5 now. But I'm rolling with KJ Jefferson. I don't believe in the quarterbacks. The new quarterback, Zach Calzada for A&M. Not my kind of guy. KJ Jefferson, however, is. I do love Jimbo. The running backs there are spectacular as well. Isaiah Spiller, Devin Achane. But KJ Jefferson, dude, that's my guy. So over-under is 47, low scoring. I think Arkansas's defense is a factor. A&M's defense is pretty decent too. Don't want to discount that, but I think it's under. I don't think it's high scoring at all.
Well, do you think it's low scoring to the point of the Colorado game, or do you think they both score like in the teens and low 20s?
One team will score 20, the other one in the teens. 3:30 on CBS. That is the SEC on the CBS game. ACC matchup number 9, Clemson, 10-point favorites at NC State. We're all reluctantly back on the Clemson train.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
After the crapshoot that happened against Georgia Tech last week. But yeah, why not?
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought that, because Clemson has obviously not been the same team that they were last year or even the year before. I didn't think that losing Trevor Lawrence was going to be that big of an issue. And I still think that they'll be okay by the end of the season, but so far it seems like they're having trouble getting their feet under them this season. Yeah, they're 2-1, but like you said, those 2 games that they won were not the prettiest wins, and their loss was against Georgia, losing 10-3. So, yeah, I don't know. And obviously, NC State has kind of surprised me. I think I picked against them in both of their wins. So let's hope that they don't do that to me again this week. But yeah.
No, you didn't.
Well, I picked against them in one of them, I think.
Probably. I think we only had them for one.
Well, I don't know. I thought I picked against them, though. Or maybe I'm just thinking about last year because I picked against them a lot and they kept beating me. But anyway.
Lost to Mississippi State. I think we all picked them.
Yeah. Clemson, though, I don't see a problem with this one. Hopefully. I can see them. I can see NC State covering the spread, though.
Yeah, and the thing is Clemson didn't just lose Trevor Lawrence. They lost Travis Etienne, Cornell Powell at wide receiver, Jackson Carman at tackle was a big one as well. As we've seen, DJ Uiagalelei have a lot of trouble with pass protection. I wouldn't count out NC State. I think they have a realistic chance. Clemson's only scoring 22 points per game right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that actually ranks. terms of overall college, but I would assume it's in the hundreds or 80s, 90s, somewhere down there as one of the worst offenses in college football.
Mm-hmm.
One thing, though, this should be a low-scoring game. Both defenses have been spectacular. NC State's only given up 10 per game. Clemson's only giving up 7 per game. I think that's really the only reason they are 2-1. So I do like the offense for NC State. Devin Leary at quarterback, Zonovan Knight at running back. So I think I'm with you. I think NC State can cover. Will we actually see the Clemson offense that resembles a Division I college offense? All right, over under is 48. Like I said, under. Defenses for both teams are very good. 3:30 ESPN. Big 12 matchup here. Number 14, Iowa State, 7-point favorites at Baylor, who are 3-0. The three teams Baylor has played, however, not very good. Texas State, Texas Southern, and Kansas.
Wait, I just wanted to clear something up because I was curious, so I looked it up. Clemson ranks 105th, so you were right.
Yeah. Figured I was right. But yeah, I loved that Iowa State got their mojo back in the blowout at UNLV last weekend. It's the first conference game of the season. I do think they cover. I don't believe Baylor is that good. Even under Dave Aranda in his second season there. I think Iowa State's really good though. That's why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Baylor, yeah, you said they're having a decent season, 3-0, whatever. But Iowa State, they had that one bad game. But I think that they still have a solid shot at turning their season around here. Starts here at Baylor. And yeah, they have one of my favorite Heisman candidates there with Mr. Hall. So I think he'll have a big game here. 7-point spread. I don't know. I kind of like it, but I don't know. But yeah, I think they were my number 6 team when we did the picks, and I still think that they can get to that. And like I said, it starts here.
Over-under is again 48, and I like the over. It's a Big 12 matchup.
Mm-hmm.
3:30 on Fox. Big 10, Rutgers, undefeated. At number 19, Michigan, also undefeated. Now, the spread is 20 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Rutgers will cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I saw the 20 and a half, this is one of the games I was the most shocked about. Because 20 and a half, yes, Michigan's having a great season, but so is Rutgers. And you mentioned already before, Rutgers has a great defense. So I think that the defense will keep them in the game. And I'm still not 100% sold on Michigan yet. Like I said, yes, they're off to a good start this season. But just based on their track record under Harbaugh, I feel like it's bound to unravel soon. It could happen in this game, but because of all the factors, like the spread and it being at Michigan being the ranked team, all signs are pointing to Michigan, but I wouldn't be surprised if Rutgers upsets.
I agree. I already kind of foreshadowed earlier how good Rutgers defense is. And I think Rutgers is really legit. Greg Schiano, the only coach that can actually make Rutgers legit in their program history. And I think, unfortunately, if this one was in Jersey, I think it would be a different story. But it's at the big house. So do you think Michigan wins? But like I said, Rutgers will cover. 20.5 for the kind of defense they have is too much. And I think Schiano's game plan will be to make Cade McNamara throw the ball, because we've seen Michigan has a rushing offense that is one of the best in the country so far through 3 weeks. I mean, they average 350 rushing yards per game. I mean, that's ridiculous. And only 164 passing yards per game. So both defenses are giving up 11 points per game, 11.3. So should be good. Should be a really good one. And I might even live bet Rutgers money line. Over under is 50. No. 3:30 ABC. All righty. Conference USA at American Athletic Conference. UTSA undefeated at Memphis. Undefeated. Memphis Tigers getting 3 points. Were you surprised that I didn't take my boy Sincere McCormick?
Kind of, yeah. I think that played a factor into me picking Memphis because I needed to pick against you. But, yeah. I also do believe, though, that Memphis can win this game. They've already proven me wrong once or twice this season. And, I mean, UTSA, they're a decent team, but again, all signs. This is probably one of the closer games that we've had so far on the podcast. But yeah, Memphis is still the favorite by 3 points, but they're still the favorite and they are at home. So I had to go with them.
Yeah, I think it'll be a very competitive game. Both teams in their wins have played close ones. In 2 of their wins, I should say. They each played one FCS school in blowouts there. UTSA, their last week was a 14-point win. Both of Memphis's wins have been within a touchdown. But yeah, I'm still on the Memphis train. I had them when they beat Mississippi State last weekend in a close one. They have a young but really talented core 3 in Seth Hannigan at quarterback, Brandon Thomas at running back, and of course Calvin Austin at wide receiver, who is one of the best playmakers in the country. I'm not saying not to cover the spread, but it'll be close. And I think it'll be an entertaining game. UTSA is for real, though. All right. Sincere McCormick, Frank Harris at quarterback. Gotta love the Roadrunners. Over-under is big, 67. I think it's close. There should be a lot of points. Both offenses have shown they can score, so wouldn't be surprised if it goes over. 3:30 ESPNU. Georgia State at number 23 Auburn, coming off the loss to Penn State last weekend. Georgia State is going to get blown out. They have not proven to be the team that I thought they were going to be with Quad Brown at quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, Auburn has actually shown that they can hold their own this year. 2-1, but they are ranked this year, and like I said, they've performed pretty well to this point. I think at least better than they have in recent years. So, yeah, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't win by 4 touchdowns.
Concur. Over-under is 57. I actually am gonna go over. I think Georgia State can score maybe 10-ish. 4 p.m. SEC Network. Number 24, UCLA at Stanford. UCLA coming off the loss. Unfortunately, you missed my gluttonous moment, Chris, on Monday with Mr. Hayner, Jake Hayner, going into the Rose Bowl. I told y'all it was going to happen on Friday, and it did. Unfortunately, I picked UCLA because I didn't have the balls to pick Fresno State. But yeah, Jake Hayner went into the Rose Bowl and beat UCLA on its home turf. I was very happy and excited to watch that happen. But Stanford, first opening conference game for each team. Or no, Stanford played UCLA USC already this week, 2 weeks ago. But Stanford has gotten a lot better since they switched quarterbacks after week 1.
Yeah, this was a tough game for me to pick. You already mentioned the UCLA meltdown from last week, and Stanford also has kind of surprised a little bit this year. But yeah, I think UCLA has the ability to bounce back, even though it is in Stanford. But I think UCLA can go to Stanford and take care of business here. 4.5, I don't know. I think Stanford has a chance to cover it, but I don't know.
I don't think so. I think UCLA covers it. They need to get back to what they were doing the first 2 games, because against Fresno State, they threw way too much. And I think that's ultimately what cost them the game. If they can get back running the ball with Zach Charbonnet and Britton Brown, they'll win this game handily, I think. Because the Pac-12 doesn't have many teams that do that pound the ball. So, all right, over-under is 59. I'm going over. Both teams, UCLA scores about 40. UCLA scores about 40 points per game. Stanford's about 30. So,
yeah, I agree.
6 p.m. Pac-12 Network. SEC matchup, Tennessee at number 11, Florida. Gators losing in the swamp last week to number 1 Alabama, but this is Tennessee. It's completely different.
Yeah, this was one of the easier picks this week. I mean, you already mentioned Florida. They're essentially 2-0. I don't really count any games against Alabama because I think Alabama's going to run the table. They're going to win all their games. So when I look at everybody's schedule or everybody's win-loss record or whatever, I never really count the Alabama game because it's pretty much when you get your schedule, circle that as a loss anyway. But in their other 2 games, I think they played well, even without 2 of their best offensive players there with Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts. I think they've bounced back relatively nicely without those 2. And I'm sure they have a few others that I can't think of off the top of my head that they lost too, but I think those are probably the 2 biggest losses that they had. But yeah, they're getting a much easier opponent here with Tennessee. I mean, they are still home because they were home last week too, but they're still home, and I think they get it done down there in Florida.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker has taken over the starting quarterback position for Tennessee over Joe Milton in a 56-0 blowout of shutout of Tennessee Tech last weekend. Good primer for Florida. I think Tennessee, and Hendon Hooker's a veteran, being a starter at Virginia Tech before that. So I think Tennessee can cover. I'm still not sold on Emory Jones. Played well against Alabama, but Still not sold. It'll be interesting to see if Anthony Richardson is healthy enough to play for the Gators. But I think this one's going to be a running quarterback palooza. I mean, Hendon Hooker runs the ball well. Anthony Richardson, him and Emory Jones run the ball well as well from the quarterback position. And even if Tennessee has to play Joe Milton, we know he can run too. So, quarterback rushing game. That's what you're going to see a lot, I think, in this one.
Yeah, probably.
Over under 64. That's a lot. That's a lot for Tennessee and Florida.
Yeah, I don't like that one. That's too high for me.
7 p.m. ESPN. Big Ten matchup: Nebraska 2-2 at number 20 Michigan State. Sparty is undefeated, and they are getting 5 points at home in East Lansing. I love the Spartans. They are one of my favorite teams so far this year. Mel Tucker in year 2 has completely turned it around in 3 games anyways, but they'll cover. No problem.
Yeah, I learned my lesson last week with Michigan State there. So I'm rolling with them this week. But you already pretty much said it. There's no reason why you shouldn't pick them. Obviously, we all did here. Michigan State is at home. They're undefeated. They're the favorite. And, I mean, I think that Nebraska is not that great. I mean, they're 2-2, so they played 4 games, but they're 2-2, which is not a great record at all. And I just think that, I mean, Michigan State took care of business last week against Miami, and I think Nebraska's a worse team than Miami. So I think that this is just kind of an easier game for them.
Yeah, Nebraska. The only thing Nebraska has is that they're playing for their head coach right now. Because if they lose many more, I should say, Scott Frost is gone. I think he's gone anyways. It just is when really my mind.
I mean, but I know players always say like that they don't play to lose or whatever, but when something like that occurs, like if the players really don't like the coach and they know that if they lose they're going to fire him, do you think that they really are trying to win?
I don't know. What I do know is that I love the offense from Michigan State. Peyton Thorne at quarterback, Kenneth Walker at running back is a monster right now. And one thing Sparty will have to look out for, Adrian Martinez running the football from the quarterback spot. He is one of the best rushing quarterbacks in the country. So, yeah. Sparty with the win here. Over under is 52. And I want to go under because it's a Big Ten game.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably will stay under just because I'm not confident in Nebraska's offense. 7 p.m. FS1. That makes it even bit better, too, that it's at night in East Lansing. Number 25, Kansas State at Oklahoma State. Now, Chris, the only reason you're lone wolfing is because Mark said for this game that he was rolling with me. And I was very disappointed because if he was actually picking the game, I feel like he would have won Oklahoma State. But you're on the mullet and Mike Gundy at home.
Yeah, I mean, this one was kind of tough to pick, but I think that Oklahoma State has what it takes to win this one. I mean, they're at home. Both teams are undefeated, yes, but Oklahoma State has the home field advantage here. Although they aren't ranked, unlike Kansas State, but Kansas State is the bottom of the barrel of the ranked teams. They're the last ranked team there with number 25. So Yeah, I like Oklahoma State in this one. Not sure about the spread. I think it could be a field goal game, but I still think Oklahoma State finds a way to come out on top in this one.
Yeah, I was surprised that Oklahoma State is undefeated. They beat Boise State by 1 on the blue turf.
Mm-hmm.
Was surprising to me. I always tend to go back to the offenses, though, and the one that I like best is Kansas State. Will Howard was great against Nevada, filling in for the injured Skylar Thompson. We saw his rushing ability really played a factor against the Wolfpack. And I'm just not as confident in the Oklahoma State offense, and Spencer Sanders particularly does not woo me. And I don't know really who their running game is. They said that a bunch of receivers had been hurt for them for Oklahoma State. So not even sure who's playing receiver for them either. What I do know, like I said, Will Howard for Kansas State quarterback, and they have one of the best all-purpose running backs in the country, and Deuce Vaughn. So, again, I think he's the difference. I said I picked Nevada last week, but I told y'all if Kansas State wins, it's going to be Deuce Vaughn, and it really was. So, over-under is low, really low for a Big 12 game, 47. I think it goes over. Kansas State scoring like 30 points per game.
Yeah, I think that this game can easily get into the 50s, maybe even 60.
7 p.m. Big 12 Network and ESPN Plus. SEC Kentucky undefeated at South Carolina. Chris, you are a lone wolf in the Gamecocks.
Yeah, the only reason I did though is because I had a feeling that you guys were going to both go Kentucky. So this is one of those ones I took a chance on. And
this was another one that Mark said roll with Rusty. So,
well, thank you, Mark. I don't know. Even though I picked them because I had a feeling I was going to be a lone wolf, but I do think South Carolina can win. Not necessarily because of them, though. I just think that Kentucky is one of the pretenders. They are 3-0, but I don't really believe in them. So I think that South Carolina can defend their home turf there. And yeah.
Apparently it's going to be real loud at South Carolina in Columbia. But I'm continuing to roll with my former Penn State quarterback Will Levis for Kentucky, as well as the Nebraska transfer wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson. Have been impressed by him. They beat Missouri, like I said earlier. I think that was a great win for them. And I'm not sold on the quarterback situation for South Carolina. I don't even know who it's going to beat because Zeb Noland got nicked up last game against Georgia. And it's probably going to be Luke. They do say Luke Doty is expected to start. Definitely not confident in Luke Doty. So, yeah, I like the Cats. And they're actually looking to start 2-0 in the SEC for the first time since 77. In a season that they finished 10-1. And also beat number 4 Penn State that year. So, yeah, I like the Wildcats in this one. Over-under is 49. No, because South Carolina is not going to score much.
I don't think either team is going to really score that much.
Will Levis, dude. Will Levis. He's going to do it. 7 p.m. ESPN2. That is also a reason why it's going to be very loud in Columbia. Night game. All right, number 1 team in the nation, Southern Miss at number 1 Alabama. And
nothing to say about this one. Alabama wins by 50. Game over.
Will they though? That's the thing. I mean, we've talked about Nick Saban's really bad record against the spread when he's favored by 50 or more. I don't know what it is when it's 45, when it's 40 or more. I'm just saying that I do not trust Alabama to cover this.
Well, I think it's only because like they're already up by 50 by halftime, so then they don't really play the second half, and then they just kind of let their opponents score a couple times to cover the spread. But yeah, I don't know. Can the question is, can Southern Mississippi actually score the points, even if they're easy garbage time in the second quarter points?
Well, their only other time they've played the number 1 overall, the number 1 team in the country, they lost to Alabama 42-7 in 1980.
Well, that would cover the spread.
And their last win against Alabama came in 82 in the final game of Bear Bryant's career.
Yeah, it's not looking like a good game for them.
Take Southern Miss plus 45. That's what we're saying. Over-under is 59, though. So, yeah, we're going over because Southern Miss is going to cover.
All right.
7:30 SEC Network. Big 12. I think this is a sneaky game. West Virginia at number 4, Oklahoma. Sooners getting 17.
Yeah, I'm fully confident that Oklahoma can win this game, but yeah, the 17, I don't know about that.
Yeah, West Virginia will cover. Toughest thing again is all these games that we're doing now are night games.
Mm-hmm.
So nighttime in Norman, that is a very difficult place to play. Plus, it is the Big 12 opener for each team. West Virginia's their 2 Power 5 games that they played within 1 score, upsetting Virginia Tech last week by 6, losing to Maryland by 6. And we know what Oklahoma, their 2 Power 5 games as well, or not Power 5. Tulane's American Conference. But I mean, that one was a 5-pointer, 7-point win against Nebraska. So it sets it up easily to be a close game.
Yeah. Oklahoma, like I said, though, they're definitely going to win this game, but I think the score really depends on Spencer Rattler, because obviously he, coming into the season, was the Heisman favorite. I still think he might be, but he definitely hasn't played up to his full potential this year. He's had some shaky performances at times. So, and you already mentioned West Virginia's had a pretty good start to their season. And yeah, if they can get to him, I think that it'll be a lot closer of a game than the spread says. But if he has the all-star Heisman type performance that he's capable of, then I think Oklahoma can cover the spread. But I don't know. I think it's more likely that they don't.
God, I wish this game was in Morgantown, because West Virginia would have a legit shot with a night game in Morgantown to upset number 4. In Norman, though, it's different. I don't think they'll work to do it. Over under is 56. Let's go over. 7:30 ABC. Night game at the Shoe. Akron at number 9, Ohio State, 48.5. Highest spread that we have this weekend. Yeah, okay. Moving on.
I don't know. Ohio State's gonna obviously win this game by a million points, but I don't know. I don't know if they cover the 48.5. I don't know if I like
They will, because they're going to win 56-0.
them.
That's how bad Akron is. I mean, they are one of the worst teams in college football, down there with the likes of UL Monroe and such. They're not as bad as UConn and UMass, but the next tier up is where Akron and UL Monroe are. Over under is 67, and I said they're going to win 56-0. So no, it's not going to go over 67 unless they beat them 70-0. 7:30 Big Ten Network. Number 21, North Carolina at Georgia Tech in Atlanta. This is tricky. It moved up to 13.5 now for the Heels. I'm just saying we saw what Tech did to Clemson last week. All I'm going to say.
Yeah. I mean, UNC should cover this one. I mean, should win this one. But as I've been saying all season, I'm only picking them because of my cousin being there. But yeah, they should win this one. 12.5 or 13.5, whatever. I don't know. But hold on. I'm going to go out for a second. I'll be right back.
Again, it's a night game. And it's not at North Carolina. It's in Atlanta at Georgia Tech. So I'm just saying it's actually, oh no, this is a neutral site. Never mind. This is in Atlanta, but it's at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So that makes a difference. Makes a huge difference, actually. I think that makes it easier for North Carolina to win and probably even cover because it's a neutral site. Granted, it's still in Atlanta. It's just at a bigger stadium. You know, I think Sam Howell plays better being in Mercedes-Benz than at Bobby Dodd Stadium. So over under is 65. I'm going under. I don't think Tech can score as much. 7:30 ACC Network. USF, the Bulls at number 15 BYU in Provo. The Cougs getting 23.5 here. And there is no chance for South Florida. I mean, BYU has proven that they are a sound football team, and they have played 3 Pac-12 teams in a row, beat them all: Arizona, Utah, Arizona State, 2 ranked teams in a row. They're gearing up for Utah, the torturous run of Utah State, Boise State. Then they play Big 12 Baylor. That's a tough run. So I think they got to get right in this one, and they'll blow out USF at night in Provo. So over under is 54, and I'm going to go over. $10:15 ESPN 2. Pac-12 at after dark. Arizona at number 3, Oregon. This is our last FBS game, and it's not going to be pretty. Arizona sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, Oregon wins this one. I think that 28.5 is low enough. I think they cover this one easy.
And you know why Arizona sucks?
Why?
You know who they lost their last game to? In-state. FCS, Northern Arizona. The Lumberjacks got them last week. 21-19. So that's how bad Arizona is.
Yeah, that is pretty bad.
Look for Anthony Brown to have a big game. CJ Riddell as well. Over under is 58. I'm going under. not confident Arizona can score enough.
Yeah, and I don't think Oregon scores near that either.
Well, they scored 38 points per game.
Well, I know. I'm saying I think they could score around 38 to 45, but they can't get to the spread by themselves.
10:30 ESPN. FCS game of the week, Weber State, second week in a row on the show for the Bobcats, or what Mark said what it was one time. I don't remember.
Yeah, I
Some
don't know.
kind of Bobcat Lynx thing. But yeah, number 12, UC Davis at number 13, Weber State, coming off the loss to James Madison last week. This is a very close game. You know, when you look at it, it's 12-13 for one. But when you actually look at the stats of both teams, UC Davis, their 3 wins, they're blowing people out. I mean, they destroyed San Diego 53-7. Dixie State, who we know sucks, 60-27 though. And they also have an FBS win. They upset Tulsa 19-17 in week 1. You know, we know what Weber State is. They got blown out by Utah week 1, 40-17. They blew out Dixie State 41-3, and then the 37-24 loss to James Madison last weekend. So,
yeah, I mean,
go on your Weber State rant.
No, we all know I hate Weber State, but you said it right there. Why UC Davis should be the clear favorite, the clear winner here. They have 3. I mean, maybe not 3 quality games, but at least the 1 quality win. And the other 2, they took care of business the way they should. So I just don't understand why they're number 12 and Weber State's number 13. These are 2 totally different teams, and they're only 1 spot apart.
Because Weber State, before their loss to James Madison, they were number 9. So they dropped 4 spots for losing to the number 3 team in the country.
Yeah,
by only 13 or whatever it was.
All right, but still, Weber State should not be anywhere in this game. UC Davis will win by at least 2 touchdowns, maybe 3.
I don't think it's going to be that bad, but especially with Bronson Barron at quarterback. They are Wildcats. That's what it says. The UC Davis Aggies versus Weber State Wildcats. So, yeah, if I believe Bronson Barron should be playing for Weber State. So, if he is, I mean, that's a big difference because Bronson Barron is one of the better FCS quarterbacks in most stats. So, yeah. And I don't have any lines for this game because they never put FCS lines out until the day up. So, wish I could tell you. We'll have the who covered and the over under on Monday though. I know that. All right, NFL pick standings, dude. Mark destroyed us last week. I mean, 10-4. What a job.
Yeah. I haven't had that great of a start to the season.
Yeah, dude. I mean, how he has a 3-game lead over myself, 4 games over you. Mark's starting to run away with it early on in the year.
Mm-hmm.
Both of us 8-6 last week. Games that we differed on. I lone wolfed the Eagles against the Niners and lost. You lone wolfed the Saints versus the Panthers and lost. So there was 2 games for Mark already. And then he won his lone wolf of the Cowboys beating the Chargers. So he was 3-0 in
the lone wolf game.
Lone wolf scenarios. All right. Bengals at Steelers. We're all on Pittsburgh. The NFL picks are very boring. Many games we all pick the same. I think literally this week there's only like 2 that we have a lone wolf on. So,
oh well.
But yeah, I'd be interested to see how Pittsburgh plays this one with Ben having the pec injury. Deontay Johnson out. That's more targets for Juju and Chase Claypool. I think they should run the ball. They should commit to running the ball. Give Najee Harris 20, 25 carries in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were the worst rushing team in the league last year, and they're averaging less yards in 2 games than they already were last year. They averaged 57 yards per game, I think, rushing last year. They're averaging like 39 per game through 2.
Yeah, this definitely wasn't the start to the season that we all expected from Najee Harris, but yeah, I think that this would be a perfect game, like you said, for him to break out. You already said about Ben Roethlisberger's injury, and all that. So yeah, this would be the perfect game for them to do it. I was kind of surprised when looking over the thing that the Steelers are only a 3-point favorite here. I thought they'd be at least 5 or 6.
Well, I think it's because the books like Joe Burrow, for one, and how the offense has played despite the 3 interceptions last week. And but also, I think the Roethlisberger injury affects it, as well as the fact that the Steelers can't run the ball right now, and that TJ Watt is essentially a game time decision.
Yeah.
Over under is 43. Under. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Washington at Buffalo. Bills getting 7 points even. Was kind of surprised we're all on Buffalo.
Yeah, I was going to say, this game, I think, is going to be closer than the first game. I mean, we all saw what happened to Buffalo week 1 against Pittsburgh. And this is a similar defense to Pittsburgh. So I can definitely see Washington upsetting the Bills here, even though it is in Buffalo and all that. But yeah, I couldn't go against Buffalo at home, though.
That was exactly my thinking. It's the same exact scenario. The defensive line is great for Washington. Offensive line has been suspect for Buffalo. I think it's just that Washington has been prone to being thrown on. We've seen it through both of their games. Justin Herbert had a lot of success. Daniel Jones had a lot of success throwing the ball. And I think that Josh Allen will too. I mean, I'm not starting him in fantasy, unfortunately. In our Dynasty League, I'm starting Aaron Rodgers instead. But because I was scared of the pass rush for Washington, that's the only reason. But yeah, I love Taylor Heineke. I think he's going to make the game close, and the Washington will cover, I think.
Yeah. And well, this could be the game for your defensive player of the year candidate too. This could be the game where he starts his campaign.
True. Yeah. Over under is 46. Actually, over. I'm actually going to go over. Both teams score in the 20s, regardless of the Washington defensive line.
Yeah.
High. All right. Bears at the Browns. Justin Fields' first career start is not going to go very well. It's at the Dog Pound. Browns, even without Jarvis Landry, they're getting OBJ back. They're going to run the ball. That's it.
I don't believe in Odell Beckham whatsoever, though. But I don't know. I think this game is going to be close, even though it is like Justin Fields' first start and all that. He has had some NFL action already, though, in the first 2 games. And yeah, I just think that the Browns aren't the same team that they were last year. I think they aren't as good as they were. And yes, they have a good defense and a good running game, but the Bears, I mean, their defense is still, I think, pretty decent with Khalil Mack and co. So I don't know. I know I picked the Browns, but I wouldn't be surprised if Justin Fields gets his first NFL win here.
I don't believe in Justin Fields.
I don't really either, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does.
He's not ready to start. I agree with Matt Nagy in that aspect. I know a lot of Bears fans and a lot of people overall don't agree with that, but you saw it when he went in last week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the man can't read a defense and throw the ball accurately at this point in his career. And the thing that saves him is running the ball, and he makes fantastic plays running the ball, but you can't do that a lot. You're not Lamar Jackson, who has been the only quarterback that can consistently do that to people and still be going. But yeah, I think the Browns cover the spread. It's down to 7 now, which makes it easier. So, a 7-point win is a push anyways. But I think they cover. The Browns defense, Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney and the like are going to give the porous offensive line fits for Chicago. So,
yeah.
Over under is 45, and I'm going under.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna go 28-10.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I think it'll be closer than that, but yeah, I think that it's going to be a very defensive game, and the Browns are going to control the game with the run game.
Well, I had 28-17 in my head first off, but then I was like, I don't believe that Justin Fields can get 17 points. I don't know why. I don't. All right, Ravens 8.5-point favorites at Detroit. It's actually down to 7.5 now. I think that was a factor with all the defensive players being put on COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it matters as much, but before you came on, I was talking about how Jared Goff has surprised me through 2 games. He has played very well within the circumstances that he was given. So it's at home where they almost came back, almost made the miraculous comeback in San Francisco 2 weeks ago. But it's Baltimore, and they're a playoff team. So,
yeah, I wasn't too sure about Baltimore. Obviously, we all picked against them last weekend against the Chiefs, and they proved us all wrong. Lamar finally got that monkey off his back. He finally won against Kansas City. So, despite him having whatever illness or injury issues that he's had this week, and despite all the defensive players being out, I know I said when we were doing the news segment before that I wouldn't be surprised if this was a close game. I still wouldn't really be surprised if it was a close game, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions covered, but I don't see the Ravens losing this game.
yeah.
I could see this game being similar to the Week 1 game with San Francisco and Detroit, where the Ravens go up big early and then the Lions just play catch up and make it close at the end.
Yeah, if the Ravens do somehow lose, I owe my friend Maddie a drink. So wouldn't be the worst situation for them to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Over under is 50. I think it goes over, dude. I mean, we saw what happened with the Niners game where both teams scored in the 30s. But also, you look at the Packers game even. That was a total of 52. And the Ravens-Chiefs game was also over 50. So, yeah, over 50. AFC South matchup here, Owen to Indianapolis, heading to Nashville to play the Titans. Was surprised. We were all on Tennessee. Mark rolled with me. It was funny. The NFL picks that Mark said he was rolling with me, it literally didn't matter. Most of them, except one later on, that we were all on the same train anyways. So,
No, this game, I mean, we all saw the Titans that we expected to see week one. We all saw them last week. Derrick Henry not finally, he showed everybody that he is still Derrick Henry. He is still King Henry. And the Colts haven't had the greatest start to their season. They're 0-2. They're having quarterback issues already, which I feel like a lot of people already expected. But Carson Wentz, I mean, I don't think he's going to play. They haven't said he's not going to, but I don't think he will. I think they'll keep him out another week. And and then their quarterback options other than Wentz, though, aren't that great, especially if they start Hundley. I don't believe in Hundley whatsoever. So I think that the Colts offense struggles this week, and the Titans offense gets it done.
yeah, that's the thing. The Colts can't afford for Carson Wentz not to play. I think that's the biggest factor. I mean, it's already a huge mountain to overcome for 0-2. If you go to 0-3, that's a death sentence. I mean, even with 17 games, you have to win 10 out of the last 14 to even get close at 10-7.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't think they have a choice. I think Carson's got to play whether he's 100% or not, because, like you said, the quarterback options behind him are not great. So, and as an Eagles fan, please, Carson, play as many snaps as possible for the draft pick, because it's not looking like playoffs right now for Indianapolis. Over under is 48.
Oof.
It ended 40. It ended 51. The Colts Rams game last week.
I think it goes just over 28-21 Titans win. That's 49.
I have them covering as well. I like that score. Just depends if they can score 21 if Carson doesn't play.
Well, then you just hand it off to Taylor for 75% of the game.
I hope so. He's disappointed in fantasy so far.
Not his fault.
Speaking of fantasy, I actually got this trade offer during the show here, Dynasty League. Not our Dynasty League, but one of my other ones I'm in. I would be giving away Antonio Gibson and Marquis Brown for Damian Harris, Mike Evans, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm leaning towards no.
I mean, you're definitely giving him the better running back, but those two wide receivers in return for Marquise Brown.
Well,
I mean, it depends on the rest of your team.
Marquis is having a banner season so far through 2 games. He scored double-digit fantasy points each of his first 2 games. And Mike Evans, I believe, is hurt right now, or nicked up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and Antonio Gibson was on the list at Fantasy Pros of running backs to trade for. Damian Harris, Mike Evans on the list to trade away. So,
yeah,
maybe he read that article. Yeah, we already said over here. Let's go to the AFC West matchup. Chargers at Chiefs. Last time we saw this one, or not, it wasn't the last time, but the first time, Justin Herbert's first career start last season was magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, lost.
Yeah.
Hooker 58-yarder, but this game could be a barn burner, though.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I honestly thought about picking the Chargers here, but well, I think the only reason I didn't is because it's in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I think if it was in LA, I think I would have maybe leaned towards the Chargers and tried to get a win here. But I mean, obviously, with our preseason picks, I have the Chargers being the number 1 seed over the Chiefs. But right now, I think the Chiefs have the leg up. They're coming off the loss. I don't know off the top of my head the record of the Chiefs under Andy Reid after a loss, because I know there's not many of those anyway. But yeah, I don't think that Mahomes will lose 2 in a row, especially not being home in front of the fans.
Well, the Chiefs are technically 1-0 after a loss already this season. They won week 1 after losing in the Super Bowl.
That is true.
But the craziest impact that this game has, the loser is in 4th place in the AFC West. Craziest implication this one has.
Mm-hmm.
Over under is the biggest one of the weekend. 55. Or no, second biggest one. Tied for second. 55 though. We already said it could be a barn burner. But I think they are in the 20s, not the 30s in this game. Defenses are improved.
Yeah, but I don't know. I still think Mahomes and Herbert are 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league. Herbert hasn't had the best start to the season, but I think that the 2 of them can combine for a lot of points and a lot of yards.
Just want to get updated because I believe, 2 games are actually going on right now. We got Charlotte beating Mid-Tennessee State 14-7 in the second quarter. Wake Forest beating Virginia 7-0, but Virginia's got a first and goal at the Wake 8-yard line. All right. Next one. Saints at the Patriots. Chris, you didn't do it. I thought you would.
No, I couldn't. Just based on how the season's gone for these 2 teams. I was also kind of surprised it's only a 3-point game, being that it's in New England. But I think the factor there was Mac Jones. I think he was probably the reason why it's only a 3-point game. But I thought he had a really good start last week. I thought he had a great game last week. Granted, it was against the Jets. But the Jets, their defense hasn't been the problem. The Jets defense has actually performed pretty well. And but he still played probably better than any other rookie last week. And I mean, that Patriots defense, though, is still pretty good. And we obviously all saw what happened last week with the Saints. After their week 1 victory, blowout victory over the Packers, they went and got beat pretty bad by the Panthers. So, I don't know. I think that was another reason why I picked the Patriots, because I'm more confident in what the Patriots are than what the Saints are. The Saints, I'm still not sure what to think of them yet. But the Patriots are always going to be the Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots defense is why I took them as well. Based off what the Panthers defense did to Jameis Winston. And the real question is, will the real Jameis Winston please stand up? And I think we saw the real Jameis Winston last week. And yeah, that's why.
I mean, yeah, this one, obviously I was trying not to be biased, and I'm not being biased in this pick, obviously, because if I was being biased, I'd be picking the Saints. But as a Saints fan and a Jets fan, please, Saints, blow out the Patriots. That would be I wouldn't care what else happened that day. That would just be a great day for me if the Saints can pull this one off.
Well, again, I'm low key under the radar every time, regardless of whether I pick the Patriots in their game or not. I'm rooting against them because of the wager I have, and I'm rooting for the Jets, Chris, every week because need them to finish above the Patriots standings. So,
Not looking too good right now.
yeah. Score update: Mid Tennessee tied it. It is now 14-14 in Charlotte against Charlotte. Over under is 43. Under. Low one, but under. Falcons 0-2 matchup. Who's going 0-3? Falcons at the Giants in MetLife Stadium. I'm low. I don't care. I'm lone wolf in the G-men. Regardless of how well Matt Ryan played against the Bucs, he still threw 2 pick sixes. And the Giants have 2 linemen out for the year, offensive linemen, but Falcons don't have a pass rush. I mean, come on. Besides Grady Jarrett. Daniel Jones has surprised me. He's played well. Not against the Broncos, who is one of the better defenses, but he played well against Washington. And he's going to play well against Falcons defense that sucks. So,
yeah, I picked the Falcons because I believe that this one's going to end up being a high-scoring shootout type of game, and I just don't believe that at the end of the day, I think that the Falcons will be able to outlast the Giants in that scenario.
okay, I have no idea what is going on in this game right now. It's timeout Virginia, I guess. I don't know. They got a pass interference, first and goal, I believe. Yeah, dude. Mark actually picked this one. He didn't roll with you. So I was happy he picked this one.
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
I'm excited.
But yeah, the Falcons. I mean, we've said it probably since last season too. The Falcons obviously have one of the worst defenses in the league, which bodes well for the Giants' offense. But still, I'm not. I think that the Falcons can win in a shootout game. I think that's pretty much what I'm banking on with this pick.
James Bradbury versus Calvin Ridley, great matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Terry McLaurin had a field day last week.
Yeah. And I'm looking for Kyle Pitts to finally have a big game too.
I'm not even going to talk about Kyle Pitts. Screwed me over week 1, not scoring a touchdown. Over under is 48. You like the over, I know. I'm going to go under, though. The Giants' defense is the difference. Maybe it goes over. I don't know. All right. No, this is the last 1 p.m. game here. Cardinals at the Jags. Cardinals getting 7.5 points here. Love them. They're going to blow them out.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't get blowouts really in the NFL.
No, I feel like this is a kind of a trap game though for Cardinals, even though I picked them. But I can definitely see this being one of the signature moments of Trevor Lawrence's rookie year. But no, the Cardinals. Yeah, we talked about it earlier. DeAndre Hopkins is having the issue with his ribs or whatever, but the Cardinals team though as a whole, I think, is just far and away better than the Jaguars. I think they're better at pretty much every position except for maybe running back.
Question is, Chandler Jones have another 5-sack game?
I mean, I think it's possible because I don't think Jacksonville's offensive line is that great.
Over under is 52.
That's a tough one.
I'm going over. The Jags will be able to score a little bit, maybe. And the Vikings did.
Yeah.
All right, 4:05 games. Your Jets at the Broncos going 0-3.
Yeah,
The former Jet is going to beat them.
you can't even call him a former Jet.
He was on the bus, wasn't he?
He was on the team for 2 preseason games and got traded. But yeah, no, the way the Jets offense has been playing this season, it's going to be an ugly day again for Zach Wilson and co.
Luckily, he doesn't have Bradley Chubb.
I was just about to say, he doesn't have to worry about Bradley Chubb, but Von Miller is still playing at a high level. And even without Bradley Chubb complimenting him on the other side, I think that he could still get through the line a couple times. However, I do think that the 10.5 is a little high. I think that it won't be. I think the Jets will cover the spread, but I don't think they'll win the game.
Are you sure, Chris? Did you
I
see
think that
Zach Wilson throw 4 interceptions last
Well,
week?
Yeah, but I think that the Jets defense can keep them in the game.
All right. Yeah. 42, the lowest one of the weekend.
And it still won't make it to that.
I mean, how many points are Jets going to score? They only scored 6 last week.
Yeah, and they scored, I think, 14 in the game against the Panthers. So
Yeah.
they scored 20 all season in 2 games. So they're averaging 10 a game. So even if they keep that average up and get 10 this game, that would mean that the Broncos would have to score 30 what?
33.
Yeah. And I don't see that happening. So yeah, I don't think it hits.
Dolphins at the Raiders. Raiders 2-0. Derek Carr a little dinged up. But, you know, Tua is not playing with fractured ribs. It's going to be Jacoby Brissett. That was the biggest factor for me and why the Raiders are going to win is because Tua's out. And we saw Jacoby Brissett looked absolutely terrible against the Bills when he came in relief. As the supposed, I don't know if he is the one, but one of the supposed best backup quarterbacks in the league. Yeah. The Raiders have surprised everyone by who they beat both games, the Ravens and Steelers. And they actually have a pass rush this year. Max Crosby has his hair on fire right now. I mean, he is playing out of his mind. So,
yeah, I think that they're going to win for pretty much all the same reasons. Not that I'm a believer in Tua, because I'm not. I'm still not a believer in Tua, but Jacoby Brissett isn't anywhere near a good quarterback either. I mean, you'd think that a guy like that, who's been behind some pretty good quarterbacks, would learn a thing or two, but I also got to give him a little bit of a benefit of the doubt, though, because I don't think it matters who you are. It's kind of hard to come in relief in a football game halfway through the game and try to play yourself out of a hole or whatever. But I think he'll play better than he did last week because now we'll have a full week of preparation as the starter and all that. But I don't think it'll be enough. I think the Raiders win, and I look to their number one weapon, Darren Waller. I think he's going to have a big game.
yeah. Ruggs has been starting to get involved as well, a decent amount. And Chris, the Virginia pick is not looking so good, at least early. 7-0 deficit. I have no idea why in the hell you would go for it on 4th and goal from the 5-yard line. That makes no sense.
Nope.
When you're only down 1 touchdown with 6.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Anyways, over under for this one is 44. No, because I already said Jacoby Brissett he sucks.
Yeah.
I feel like I've used sucks a lot in this show today.
Well, it's the shoe fit.
I don't care. It's my show. I can say whatever I want. Bucks at the Rams. This is the best game of the week. I mean, it is the two of the best teams in the league playing, and one person's going to go home with a loss. So we're all on the Bucks, and that means the Rams are going to win.
I hope that's the case, but
was surprised. Mark, he did not pick this game. He said roll with me, but it didn't matter because he already picked the Bucks. I was hoping that he was going to pick his Rams and give us a shot.
Yeah, you already said it's going to be probably the best game of the week, at least on paper it is. The Rams have one of the best defenses, and the Buccaneers have one of the best offenses. Brady's off to possibly the best start of his career. And, in a way, I'm happy about that because he is my fantasy starter. Although this week I'm benching him in favor of Russell Wilson. But, yeah, I don't see why Brady won't continue this hot start. And I haven't been keeping track, but I know coming into the season he was on pace to get the yardage record next week against the Patriots. But based on how he started the season, I don't know. He might be getting it in this one. I don't know how many yards away he is, but
he's got to get it next week. The NFL is gonna storyline it like that.
Oh
right?
yeah, I know. But
like
he was
won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, he was on pace to do it in next week's game coming into the season. But I don't know if he has. I think he's played above that pace so far. So, but I don't know. This game, I don't think he's going to play as well as he has. But I still think that the Buccaneers as a team are still the best team in the NFL. And yeah, the Rams have been one of the best teams so far this year, but I still don't think they're up to the Buccaneers standards yet.
The way that the Bucs win the game is not from what they've been doing the first 2 weeks. That's not how you beat the Rams. You don't beat them throwing the ball. You beat them running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones have to be a pivotal factor in this game, I think, if the Bucs are going to win. And for the Rams, unlike the Bucs offense, for the Rams offense, it sets up very nicely. The Bucs are susceptible to the pass. And, Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford have just destroyed everyone in 2 games. So I think it was, the Rams definitely have a shot. I still love Matthew Stafford. He's going to continue to put up numbers, even against the highly touted Bucs defense. Well, like I said, they've been susceptible to the pass, and that's what the Rams do best. Daryl Henderson might not play, so that leaves Sony Michel, Jake Funk, and whoever else.
And just a side note, because I just looked it up, Brady most likely will not break the record this week unless he just has an incredible game. He is 499 yards away from the record.
I told you that the NFL is not going to let it. They're going to script it to get to the Patriots game, and that's how these things work. They scripted his whole 20-year career.
And Roethlisberger has a solid chance of becoming number 6 next week, passing Dan Marino.
I don't know who they play next week, though. Biggest over-under of the weekend, 56.
I don't know. I don't like that.
They're good.
Yeah.
The offenses are good. Defenses are good.
Yeah. It
Which
all
one
depends on
wins?
which one gives, but I definitely think this is more likely to be a defensive game.
Well, we'll have to see. All right. Seahawks at the Vikings. Now, Chris,
All right.
Mark was rolling with me. So that's some BS. I was just gonna give him the Seahawks. I was thinking about it.
No, I picked the Seahawks because they had that tough loss against Tennessee, but they came back and beat the Colts down pretty hard. And the Vikings, though, they're coming off an 0-2 start, two pretty heartbreaking losses, one in overtime against the Bengals, and the other a game-winning missed field goal to lose the game. So, I mean, the Vikings just seem like they're that team this year. They're the team that's going to have all the bad luck in the world this year and going to find a way to lose every game like the Chargers used to do or other teams like that. And it's still early on in the season, so I'm looking for MVP version of Russ to take over the game.
Yeah, this was one of the toughest games for me to pick. Thing that I'm going with is just like the Colts, the Vikings can't afford to be 0-3. They sort of can in their own division with really the Packers, the only threat. But the Vikings are, in my mind, by far the best 0-2 team there is. They're playing at home. I think that matters. The Viking crowd will be fired up, and it's a 4:25 game, so it's not like it's a in Minnesota that a 1:00 game is an 11 a.m. kick. I believe they're Mountain Time. Maybe they're Central. I don't know. I'm not good at geography. What can I say? They're probably Central. So still, it's a noon kickoff instead of a 1 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, it's a 4:25. So even if it's 3:25, it's a lot better. A little bit extra sleep. Seahawks got to come halfway across the country. Ish. I don't know. I like them. Kirk Cousins. That's the thing though. In their two losses, Kirk Cousins has played outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
They're not losing because of the offense. It's the defense giving up too many points.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I think that's what's going to happen here because Russell Wilson and the Seahawks offense, like I said, they're in early season form. They're going to ball out like they normally do early on. But
we saw how that worked last week, didn't we?
But then, what was the status with Dalvin Cook? Is he likely to play?
He's questionable.
But nobody ever knows what questionable means.
That's what I think it was Stacey Dales tweeted out. She's like, I wish we could go back to getting probable on the injury designations. So over under is 55, tied for the second highest one. I think it's another high one. Both teams coming off 70-point, the Vikings game was a 70-point game. I believe it was 69, right? It was, I don't know, 67, something like that. 34-33 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 34-33.
The Seahawks was 33-30 in overtime. So yeah, I think both teams have showed they can score. A lot of fireworks going to be happening in Minneapolis. Sunday Night Football, Packers at the Niners. A rematch. This is the third time they face each other in 2 seasons. Three seasons. Yeah. 4th time they face each other in 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Played in the regular season in 2019, NFC Championship in 2019, regular season last year, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Regular this year. And I believe Aaron Rodgers is 0-3 in those prior 3.
They lost last year? Because the 49ers weren't good last
Yeah, and my connection is unstable for the second time in the show, which is great. But yeah, the Packers showed what the Packers actually are last week. Granted, the Niners played well against Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts isn't Aaron Rodgers. And I think the injuries at the running back position for San Fran are going to hurt them, and not being able to run the ball as much. I think Jimmy G will have to throw it more. So
year. Yeah, no, the Packers won last year.
okay.
34-17. But yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that nobody picked the 49ers here, because the 49ers are a lot better than they were last year. They got all their defensive players back. But yeah, the Packers, if the Packers didn't play well last week, which arguably you could say that they didn't play well the first half of the game. So really they've only had 2 quarters of good football. But it was the last 2 quarters that they played. So they're going to build off of that. And I think they're going to continue doing what they did last week and just keep feeding Aaron Jones and win that way. And I mean, we've seen what the 49ers are so far. They are 2-0. But they've played 2 different kind of games. One was a big, high-scoring game against the Lions, and then the other one was a low-scoring game against the Eagles. So they can play any form of football. So it's going to be a tough game for the Packers, but I still think that they find the way to win. And yeah, I don't know. I like this game for the Packers, and I was kind of surprised that they were the underdog, but it is in San Francisco, which probably is the reason why they are.
Yeah, I just like the Packers, and screw Aaron Jones for not getting 23 extra rushing yards on Monday Night Football. Screw the Packers, actually, because they AJ Dillon and freaking Kylan Hill in the fourth quarter. No Aaron Jones, bro.
Hey.
They didn't get a first down when either of those two were in. Aaron Jones would have got him a first down. Just saying.
Hey, careful though. Don't trash your future employers too much. They might see this.
Oh well. It's a talk show. We're allowed to have opinions. All right, my best bets of the week. I went 1-2 last week. An uptick from an 0-3 week prior to that. I got the Patriots -6 at the Jets right. I didn't get the Bengals +2.5. I mean, come on. They lost by 3. When I saw that, I was like, are you kidding me, dude?
Mm-hmm.
And then, again, the same thing. The Rams -3.5. They won by 3. So some bad beats for the best bets last week.
That's why I don't like those low scoring or those low spreads.
That's 4 Bs in a row. Bad beats for best bets. But it's okay. You know, hitting on 33% right now. 33.3 repeating. But it's okay. We're going to get there. We're going to get over 500. We're going to get to 500 with this week, and then we're going to get over 500 next week. So what we're going with is, and I should actually have changed these numbers because they changed. So depending on what the final scores are, I might change them to what the numbers ended up being. But anyways, Ravens -8.5. I think they'll take care of the Lions in Detroit. I know 8.5 is pretty big for NFL, but like I said, they shouldn't have an issue unless Jared Goff does what he did against San Francisco. The Titans, now I picked them before they said Carson Wentz had a chance to play. I still like it because I don't think he is going to play. I don't think he has a good shot. So with Jacob Eason or Brett Hundley playing, I don't think there's any chance the Colts have. And then the Raiders, like, again, it's the backup quarterback thing. I do not believe whatsoever that Jacoby Brissett can beat the Raiders and beat them. And I don't even think that they can lose to them by less than a touchdown. So
yeah, it's funny because with these three games here, it literally goes from least likely to most likely, in my opinion. Like, I do think that all three of these are going to happen. I would agree with all three of these picks, but I think the least likely to happen is the Ravens beating them by 8.5. I think that could be a closer game than that. And then the Titans game, I do expect them to win too, but there's a lot of factors going into that one, so that one's kind of tough. The Raiders, though, I think they easily win by a touchdown, like you said. So I think that one covers. I am kind of surprised, though, that you didn't have the Broncos on this list.
I don't like double digits. It's not. Yeah. Even though I think there's only been like two. I think there's only been 2 double-digit spreads so far, maybe 3.
There was the Browns and Texans last week,
and the Packers. So,
and then this one.
I think this would be the third one. And the Browns didn't cover theirs. The Packers did. So, yeah, I don't like double-digit spreads in the NFL. The Cavaliers are finally on the board, though, answering a field goal by Wake Forest. So it's 10-3 Wake. 12 minutes to go in the second. All right. It should not say final lock standings. I keep forgetting to take that out. But Chris came back to us last week. You had the Chiefs. They lost to the Ravens. Mark had the Browns, who beat the Texans, right?
Yeah.
And then I had the Bucks beating the Falcons. So we're all back even, 2-1. And let's get to them this week. Chris, you are on the team that beat your team last week.
Yep.
In Detroit with the Baltimore Ravens. Mark and I, he said he was either going to roll with me or roll with you. And I chose myself.
Okay. I'm kind of surprised you didn't want to try for the lone wolf for the locks there. But I mean, yeah, both of these teams I think should easily win. We don't have to worry about the spread with the locks. So we don't have to worry about that. And I think that both of these teams are poised to win. The Ravens against the Lions, we've talked about them plenty of times in this show already. I won't be surprised if it's a close game, but the Ravens have no reason why they shouldn't win. And the Cardinals, though, that should be a much more blowout of a game, I think. And yeah.
And after this week, we will no longer be allowed to pick locks against winless teams, which both of us did here. So next week it gets more difficult.
I mean, the Lions have actually been competitive somewhat. So,
well, you said this is a trap game for the Cardinals, so
yeah.
If we all lose, we all lose. All right. Dogs standings, dude. Mark is on fire, man. I mean, he is killing it right now. Still undefeated at 6-0. He had the Cowboys plus 3.5. They won outright in LA. You and I, just like my best bet, got screwed over by the Bengals losing by 3. And we had the Bengals plus 2.5. So two. So yeah, let's get to it this week. Chris, you are on the Packers plus 3 at the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, we talked about it kind of when we went over them, but I think that the Packers showed their true colors this past week, and I think that they can easily take the victory here. So I don't really have a problem with the plus 3. At the very least, I could see a push, and they lose by a field goal.
Yeah, I am on the Vikings in Seattle. That's not in Seattle. I believe it's in Minnesota. I had it at Minnesota.
Yeah, the other side said Minnesota, so.
Correct here. Yes, it is in Minnesota. I don't know why I put at Seattle. Just because the other two were away games. Probably that's what happened. But yeah, I like the Vikings to win outright. I already said they're desperate 0-2. And a +2 spread is pretty much winning outright anyways. Anytime you get 2 or less, it's tough. Was thinking about Washington and was also thinking what you had in the Packers. Those were the only really 2 other underdogs I was thinking about. So the Chargers as well, I think they will cover. But yeah, I'm rolling with the Vikes. Let's get to 4-4 when I go 0-2. And then Mark's on the Falcons plus 3 at the Giants. You are rolling with him as well.
Yeah, I thought about picking them, but I'm more confident with the Packers winning against the 49ers than I am with the Falcons winning against the Giants.
Another thing is that Packers game last season was in Lambeau. The one game they've beaten the Niners the last couple of years, it's in Lambeau. This one is in San Francisco. I think that matters. But yeah, that's the show for the day. Another 3-hour show. What's new? I don't know how we ever did those 2-hour ones. I have no clue.
I don't
know. But it's okay. We're right at 3 hours now. So next Friday, we'll be back recapping the Monday Night Football game between the Eagles and Cowboys and the Thursday night matchup, Jags at Bengals. Question will be, Jags will be winless. And we've seen rookie quarterbacks get their first win on Thursday Night Football before, i.e. Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. And I believe next week is the start of the bye weeks, right? I believe there's bye weeks starting next week. At least there was in the 16-game schedule. I don't know if that changed with the 17-game, but teams in the past definitely have had week 4 byes.
No, they don't. There's still 14 Sunday games next week.
All right, so then they I guess they're starting a week later this year. Makes sense.
I'm not sure. It's really weird. I wrote them down in my NFL book. But yeah, it's definitely different this year in terms of buys. But thank you all for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. FAApodcast.com is our website. Check us out there. Check us out here on YouTube and Facebook. And if you'd like to listen to us and not see our pretty faces,
beautiful face,
we have our shows available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio as well. Thank you, Chris, and we will see you on Monday for the recaps.
See you Monday.